Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in to another edition of Team Bankroll. This is the Premier League Punters show for the midweek matches, January 29th to January 30th. I am the big man on campus, here with our esteemed and normal co-hosts, Gordon Flash Watson and Russ Yershon. Guys, how you doing today?
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
good,
very
good.
good, thank you.
Just put another light on, I'm looking a bit dark down here.
Well, I mean, Flash, when you record in some parlor from 1930, that's so what kind of happens sometimes. Nat is not here, guys. As you can see, I'm not as good looking as Nat, but she will be back next time, and we'll have some fun next week. But guys, midweek matches coming fast and furious. How's everything going?
Yeah, good. Thanks, big man.
It's a tough one for me. Obviously, you need to look at the FA Cup games for the teams that played, and again, for some teams, you can literally write through the performance, and obviously look at their last Premier League for me.
Flash, what are your thoughts on the midweek matches? I actually like a lot of these matches.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of value to be had, which is always a nice start. I think there's a few coin flips where the markets have actually gotten like a little bit lopsided for me, but I think you've got to look at goals when you see midweek games. Then I think most of the time you have to go goals.
Yeah, I hear that. Welcome into all the listeners out there checking us out around the world. We welcome you in. Thanks for joining us. Do us a favor, hit the like button and communicate with us on the chat. Always nice to hear from all of you. We got a couple guys in here already. Welcome in, everybody. Guys, let's crack on here. We will start it out with the Tuesday matches. And again, we do miss Natalie. We hope to have her back next week. I know she's on a little brief holiday. I know they're getting ready for the big game down there in Costa Rica. So a lot going on this week, but money to be made. Just remember that. Let's get into the matches here. We will start it out. Fulham heading on the road down to the South Coast to take on Brighton Hove Albion. Fulham 2.37, draw 3.2. Brighton at 3.4. Guys, I'll start out quickly, very short and sweet. I passed on this one. Obviously, Fulham, we know what we're going to get. Bad side, going on the road here. I wonder maybe if they can get a draw out of this one.
Big man, Fulham are at home.
Yeah, sorry, they're at home. My fault.
Yeah,
they're at home, but does it matter, though? Fulham, a bad side, as we all know. Brighton coming up into London over to Craven Cottage. I don't know. Just don't have much in these two. You could tell I don't even know where the game is because I didn't even look at it because I really don't have an opinion on it. Flash Watson, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts here?
I think both teams to score on over 2.5 is a play at 2.7. And the reason I say that is Fulham can't keep a clean sheet. They've been doing a little bit better, but I couldn't pick the winner here. So I just thought I was going to go both teams to score. But then when I saw that both teams to score on over 2.5 was a healthy 2.7, I thought that's probably the way to go. Both teams will think they can win the game. So that's just where the coin landed for me.
Flash looking for goals here. Russ, what are your thoughts here? You usually have an opinion on one of these two sides. What are your thoughts?
I just can't trust Fulham. Look, obviously, they did well against Spurs last time out. Obviously, Spurs nicked that last-minute winner. But for me, Brighton 2.4, draw no bet is a play. Brighton, experienced Premier League team. They drew 0-0 at home to West Brom in the FA Cup. As again, you can't take that as a good result, bad result. I know it goes to a replay. So you look at Brighton's form, it's not too bad. Fulham's is really poor, 4 losses in a row. And I think Brighton's experience will count. And I think at 2.4, draw no bet, that's the play here.
Yeah, it seems like a nice play here, actually. You look at Fulham, 51 goals conceded this year in 23 matches, just hideous at the back. Brighton a little bit more compact, obviously a little bit more experienced up at this level, and really have turned into quite that team that, I think we all kind of thought when they came up, maybe they'd go right back down, but they've become pretty formidable now in this league. I mean, they're not great, but they're not bad either. Kind of sitting in the middle of the table, just south of the middle of the table. So nice job by those guys down at Brighton Hove Albion. Let's move on to Arsenal hosting Cardiff. Obviously, Cardiff playing with heavy hearts. It's sad that we have to actually talk about stuff like this in football. It's the second time this year we've had to talk about a tragedy that has touched a side. And what makes it spooky here is you look at when Leicester lost their chairman, they were playing Cardiff. Cardiff now having to deal with heavy hearts after Emiliano Salah disappears in that tragedy with the plane. He has not been found, and the search has been called off. Very sad. You also talk about counseling being given to some of the players. You know, guys, I've talked oftenly candid about my not interest in this kind of stuff, but I think in sports betting, you can use a lot of this stuff to come out with certain positive things. A lot of the time, these teams will play for their fallen brother or their fallen comrade and play pretty well. We saw that with Leicester. But I think the difference here with Cardiff, this is something that they were excited about. I think they were kind of maybe had some renewed confidence that maybe they could stay up after getting this great player, and he doesn't even play a minute for the team. And now you have to face the real possibility that you got to face the music without him now. I think it's going to be very tough for Cardiff. You're traveling down to a really tough stadium, a good fan base with a good team. I know Arsenal have struggled, and that's been kind of their thought process all year. I'll start with you, Russ. What do you think here? I mean, you're an Arsenal fan. I mean, obviously this is a very tough game.
Yeah, it's very tough. Obviously, Arsenal should win comfortably, but I think Arsenal are running out of defenders. Socrates got injured on Friday night. Koscielny got injured on Friday night. I assume it will be Mustafi and probably Monreal, two centre-backs with Maitland-Niles and Kolasinac at full-back with Leno coming back in goal. It's solid enough for a team that's facing Cardiff. Obviously, Cardiff will raise their game. They come in fresh, obviously, albeit the horrific incidents to obviously the player that they were going to have in Salah. So I'm just going to play a small Arsenal to win and under 3.5. I don't see many goals. I think Cardiff will want to keep it tight. Again, Arsenal, we know they can score and probably will score. But I think Arsenal and under 3.5. I look at the game Arsenal played against Huddersfield. Huddersfield pretty much level with Cardiff. It took Arsenal a long time to break Huddersfield down, and I think that may happen tomorrow night. I'll be at the game, so that's the play for me. Arsenal and under 3.5 at 2.25.
Yeah, I obviously you mentioned the crisis with Arsenal. Look, the goal issues have been an issue for a long time. You're starting to continue to see animosity with the club and the ownership. They don't want to go out and spend money. You also lose Bellerin for a long period of time. It's a bit of a horror show back at the back. But I got to tell you, I mean, Cardiff, I just don't think really have much going forward. I think this is going to be a down team tomorrow. They're on the road. I'm actually going to go to Arsenal win to 2.1. I know that's very shoddy. I mean, Arsenal struggle to defend, but Cardiff just don't offer very much going forward. Flash, why don't you shed some light on this? What do you like here?
I think it's a mismatch. I think Arsenal -2, 2.7 is going to be my play. I can see it being minimum 3-0. I don't care about Arsenal's defence. They're playing Cardiff. Cardiff won't show anything because if they try and venture too far forward, which means they're going to have to commit bodies, they'll get picked off so quickly on the counter-attack. I think that the biggest thing for this game, for me, is Man United's form. Man United now have put so much pressure on them boys above them, the Tottenham, the Chelsea and the Arsenals, that they cannot afford to slip up. And you can't turn up at this game. Listen, Arsenal could win this game 2-0 and fans would be disgruntled. So I'm looking at this game, Arsenal -2, 2.7.
Yeah, I mean, really should be able to, kind of right the wrongs a little bit. The problem Arsenal has is, they win a game and everything seems to be copacetic again, and then they go out and lose to, someone in the League Cup or whatever. They're just not getting a ton of consistency right now, up and down. But should be a job done here. I think 2-3-0 looks pretty safe here. Let's move on here. Flash, let me ask you. This is obviously an odd situation because the player never played for the team. Have you ever seen anything like this where I'm not even saying death, but like where someone doesn't end up playing everything falls by the wayside? I mean, this obviously Cardiff team, we're hoping to get someone to stay, have them stay up.
Yeah, it's just a sad situation all round, big man. Now, listen, the part of me, I mean, the fact of the matter is, I don't think any of the Cardiff players ever met him. I think the only person he ever met from there, it was the manager. I think the manager's come on record as one of the hardest faced characters in our game. Been in the game over 40 years. He would have struggled because he'd have had a rapport with him. I think it's basically the boys will struggle because their own immortality has been brought to the fore. I just don't feel. I think you've got to look at this as Cardiff are not good enough, and Arsenal are at home, and they'll go and get the job done.
Yeah, agreed. Flash, people on the chat checking in saying you're the best. So you do have some fans out there. I didn't know how many you had, but you do have a few.
Family members, big man, family members.
Yes, I was thinking that Rude Boy might be a family member of yours. Shadrach checking in from Kenya. Welcome in, Shadrach.
Yeah, hey.
Thanks for joining. Gaming says Arsenal to 0. Yeah, I agree 100%. Let's move on to Huddersfield hosting Everton. The Toffees 2.1, Huddersfield 4, draw 3.3. Look, I don't know how else to say this. I think this is a strong play. Everton, kind of leveled off. They're kind of middle of the table. Haven't played particularly well. But you look at the fact that they're hosting a team in Huddersfield right now they should beat. But it doesn't mean that they will win. They should have beat Southampton, and they weren't able to do it. They should have beaten Leicester, and they didn't do it. Everton is a team that have let me down week after week, really surprisingly, because the last few weeks, guys, have been kind of a horror show for them. Really, lost to Burnley, I think, at one point, or someone. It was crazy. What are you guys' thoughts? We'll start with you, Flash. Everton are hard to trust. They should win here, though, right?
Unless you're a Huddersfield or Everton fan, you don't care about this game at all. I can't go near it. Why would you want to? Everton have they're going through the motions. I mean, remember, they've just been beat the weekend with a first choice 11 out against Millwall. And then you've got a side that have now got a new manager. Listen, who cares? The value is Huddersfield to win. But can you sit there and say that I'm going to put money on Huddersfield to win? Pass, move on.
No, I think they're one of the worst teams I've ever seen at this level. Russ, we kind of thought, I think when we all kind of talked about this preseason, we thought Cardiff could be one of these historically bad sides. And frankly, it's been Huddersfield. I mean, just 11 points in 23 matches. They've only scored 13 goals. I mean, they're not even close to the rest of the league here. It's hard to back Huddersfield. You got to just bet Everton on principle here.
For me, this is a really tough one. I was at Millwall on Saturday, and Everton at set pieces were atrocious. If I was a new Huddersfield manager, or if I was a Huddersfield player, I'd have watched that and gone, right, if we've got any chance of getting anything tomorrow night, it's we make sure we do really well at set pieces. We put that ball in that box and we give it 100% to get a ricochet, to watch the second balls. Because Millwall, average Championship team, they made their set pieces count, and Everton just looked like boys versus men. Millwall won every header in the air, and obviously to get that last-minute goal. Again, is it a trap game? Because you look at Everton's price and think, surely they're going to bounce back here, and they've got the perfect opportunity to do it against a poor Huddersfield side. And obviously Huddersfield, new manager. I looked this morning and I put Huddersfield 3.05 draw no bet as a play, because new manager, look what the guy did at Southampton, Hussenthal against Arsenal, got the win there. But I think as I've looked at it throughout the day, it's a no play. So, but the lean would be draw no bet Huddersfield.
Yeah, I'll stick with Everton. I mean, I mean this. This is the last time I back them if they don't get the job done here. I mean that. They're kind of like the Knicks in the NBA. I keep backing the Knicks, and they keep letting me down. But again, if I continue to back them, I have to own it that they're going to screw me. But that's another story. I won't bore anyone with the New York Knicks right now. Let's move on. Wolverhampton Wanderers hosting West Ham United. Wolverhampton Wanderers 2.1, draw 3.6. West Ham 3.75. Wolves playing pretty well, but we all know this team seemed to struggle against average to bad sides and play well against good sides. West Ham United, though, guys, they just can't back on the road. I mean, 4 wins in 11 road games. They've had no wins away against the top 10 group in the league. I just don't have any confidence this team could travel and get the job done. I'll think that Wolves can go and get the job done here. I'll go Wolves 2.1. Russ, Irshan, what do you think?
I've gone 2.38, both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. I think Bonnie's still got one more game suspended. So that means Wolves at the back will not be the resilient self. West Ham, obviously coming off that incredible defeat in the FA Cup to AFC Wimbledon, they will have to bounce back. I think Arnautovic, again, that crazy situation where he said, right, I'm off to China, and then, oh, no, I'm not now, I'm going to stay. He's got his contract extension. So I think West Ham will play better than they did against AFC Wimbledon. Wolves, again, a last-minute equaliser away at Shrewsbury in League One. Again, they'll have to perform better. I think with the short rest that they both got, this game says goals. So, again, I think Wolves will probably get the job done, but I'll play both teams to score an over.
Flash, you and I talk on the league show about, all these games and stuff, and we all talked about the FA Cup over the weekend. Would you agree that West Ham performance was the worst you've ever seen at this FA Cup level? It's got to be one of the worst, right?
Yeah, and the thing is that it was probably one of the biggest upsets. I mean, Wimbledon, who actually scored 4 against the Premiership side, had only won 3 games at home all season and hadn't won since Boxing Day. But also, you've got to give the manager a bit of a clump round the head, because he turned up with a lightweight side with Andy Carroll up front, and yet he didn't play any long balls in the air to someone who's 6'5". It made no sense. And once the horse had bolted, they thought they could then close a stable door. Not for me, this game. And just to throw a little bit of spanner in the works, I thought this could have been a 0-0. I really do. I think this could be a midfield stalemate where both teams defend the edge of their own box, and it will just go to and fro. I mean, I thought the unders was a play here, but I'm not going to get involved. So if you're not putting your money down, then keep quiet.
Interesting. Flash going kind of against Russ. I'm going to just kind of go down the middle. I'll take Wolves. I think they bounce back here. West Ham, I think obviously morale a bit low after that shocking performance. And they got to go on the road, a place that has not been kind of them. I'll go Wolves 2.1. Flash sitting it out. Russ going with both teams to score and over 2.5. Man United hosting Burnley. How about Man United? 8 in a row out of 8. They've scored 22 goals in the process. Burnley have lost 7 of 12 on the road. How about United? I mean, Flash, you talked about it really breathing down the neck of Arsenal, Chelsea. Could it be United get into the top 4? They come in and dispatch Arsenal from the FA Cup at the Emirates. It was interesting to watch. Russ, I'll start with you. You saw United. They're playing terrific right now. They're 1.25 against Burnley. Burnley 13, draw 6.5. What are your thoughts here? Do you lay the goal and a half with United and just say job done?
Again, I looked at the handicap, and again, everything was coming out under 2.0. The only bet that I could find at 2.0 or higher was if Marcus Rashford starts, then I'll play Rashford to score at any time. He's on fire in the league. He didn't start against Arsenal, but when he came on, he gave the option up front, and again, he should have scored. But his form under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been absolutely superb. I think he scored in virtually every game they've played at home. 2.0, Rashford to score any time.
Yeah, I'm going to go United minus 1.5 at 1.8. I'll stick on this train. They've gotten the job done. Guys was one of the people that under Mourinho would even back them at 1.6 and 1.7 in certain spots. I've had a decent read on this crew. I like where they're playing right now. They're putting goals in for fun. We all know Burnley have struggled at times to defend. Flash, Watson, what do you like here?
I I'm not going to play, so if you want to pass, it's a pass. But I thought both teams to score and over 2.5. I thought was pretty safe. I expect Man United to win, no dangers. It's just maybe a 3-1, maybe a 4-1, or but I just they're 1-4. Do you know what I mean? They win. Find a way to back that up.
Flash, I got to ask you, we have more than one pick in the show today.
Yeah, and you're going to come to my games now, obviously.
We have a better chance of seeing Flash president than him giving out 3 or more picks, which is unlikely. Who do you think would do better as a president, Flash or Russ? Flash or Donald Trump? What do you think?
Look, Flash is brilliant at what he does.
I'd cruise.
Yeah, I think you do a better job as well. Let's keep on moving. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Just having some fun here. Cheek the Toasty is joining the show. He says, "Keep the faith for the tune, big man." He's a big Newcastle guy, big Geordie. Keep on, Cheek the Toasty. Big Newcastle supporter. They have Man City this weekend, and I got a feeling the Toon Army's not going to be very happy in this one. I'm going to go City and under 3.5. I've noticed seems like they're winning a lot of games 2 or 3-0. I don't think Newcastle has any shot. Their home form has been pretty bad, frankly. I'll go City and under 3.5 at 1.9. Flash, we know those Geordies. They love their football. They love their Toon Army. Do they have a chance in this game?
You're going to love my bet then, because my banker, obviously it shouldn't be, is Man City to win and under 3.5 at 2.25, big man.
I love it.
2.25 with Boyle Sports. So, yeah, Man City. You know what Newcastle are like when they play against Man City? They somehow smuggle 15 defenders on the pitch and try to just make sure they only lose 1-0.
Yeah. Well, that could be the sure possibility here, and I think you're onto something, Flash. I think maybe 2-0, but let's see what Russ thinks. Russ, are you going to make it a trifecta, a little menage a trois? What do you think?
Again, just looking at those number of goals that Man City are scoring. Look, I know they played Burton twice. I think Burnley and Rotherham, I think, in the third round of the FA Cup. 33 goals in 8 games, an average of 4.1. They're on fire, and Pep playing is pretty much his first team, and in a lot of these games, the guys are just flying on the pitch, and it doesn't matter who they play now, they're going to score goals. I wrote down 1.97 Man City to win to 0. I just don't think Newcastle will trouble Man City defensively, and it's just how many Man City score. But Flash and Big Man, you're absolutely right. You look at the previous games that Man City play against Newcastle defend well, and it's usually 1-0 or 2-0 City win.
Russ, you have made a good point. You talked about them playing big lineups against Burton Albion and Rotherham. In 2 games, they won a combined 16-0. What's the point of that? I don't really understand that. Why are we risking injury? Why are we not giving these guys a little time to recuperate? What is the point of putting these guys in against Burton and Rotherham? Can you explain that? Because I don't get it.
I guess I wasn't a professional footballer, so it'll be interesting to see what Flash says. But for me, you can't beat having a proper game rather than a training game. And obviously, Man City playing the way they do, scoring goals, it will build massive confidence that they can go out and whoever it is, they play the same way and they score goals. So I think that gives Man City massive confidence of when it comes into the Champions League. Doesn't matter who they play against. Once they're scoring goals and they're working out teams, I think it's just great for morale.
Now, Flash, I'm interested to hear your thought on that. What's the point of that? I mean, can you explain?
Match practice at pace. Anybody? And I mean, some of the players that came in, they haven't played as much as the others. I mean, you look at De Bruyne; he's just managed to get an extra 2 or 3 games under his belt. But the big thing is, and this is Pep Guardiola all over, especially why he's chasing, because he doesn't like to chase. Pedal to the metal, ruthless. We said about 3 or 4 weeks ago, they can't afford no more slip-ups, so they have got to be in every single thing they do, 100% into it. They can't afford to drop that 2% because that might be a draw and Liverpool go further clear.
Yeah, I think I think throughout sports, I think I've always been a fan of coaches that keep their foot on the gas. Not a lot of coaches do it, but Pep is doing it. And look, it seemed to work out. Matt checking the show. He says, first time checking the show out. Well, thanks for watching us, Matt. I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoy football. Let's keep it moving here. Let's go to Wednesday's matches. Bournemouth hosting Chelsea. Bournemouth 5.25, draw 4.2. Chelsea 1.7. Chelsea shouldn't have a lot of trouble scoring goals here. Bournemouth have been shocking against most competition. They've given up 42 goals this year, one of the worst in the league. Flash, we'll start with you. Chelsea playing pretty well right now. Not great, not bad, but they're right up in the top four. Shouldn't have any trouble with Bournemouth, should they?
No, I think the game might be tighter than like a -1 or a -2. But I'm just going to go with Chelsea at 1.7. And you know me, I don't normally have that type of odds in my locker. But I'm going to put it in a parlay with something else a little bit later. But I'm just not going to complicate it. I'm just going to go Chelsea 1.7.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's right down where we need to be with them. It's not a great price, but should be a pretty easy job here for Chelsea. What do you think, Ross? Are you agreeing here?
Look, it's Higuain's first Premier League start, I assume. And again, I assume he's going to play every game, and he's going to be their linchpin with having Willian, Pedro, or Hazard either side. I think it's what Chelsea have been missing all season. I think Chelsea will get the job done. I'm going to take a 2.1, Chelsea and under 4.5. I don't think there'll be too many goals in this game, but I think it'll be enough that I think Chelsea will get the job done.
Nice value, Russ. What was your price on that? 2.1?
2.1, Chelsea and under 4.5.
Wow. I'll tell you what, I'm going to switch. I'm going to go with that as well. Nice job, Russ.
Yeah, good find that. Good find.
Great price. Instead of laying 1.7, we can lay 2.1. They're not going to be 5 goals in this game. I could see 2-1 or 3-1, but they're not going to be 5 goals in this game. I'm going to agree with you there. Instead of the 1.7, because anywhere I can avoid laying a price, I'm going to. I'm getting a little plus 110 action basically for our English people, our U.S. people. I'm going to agree with that. So it's basically instead of laying 135, I'm going to get plus 110 on a pretty likely bet where we're not going to see 5 goals. Flash, are you going to switch to that as well, or what?
Yeah, I've already done it.
Perfect. So we're going to all agree on that one. Chelsea and under 4.5 at 2.1. A great find, Russ. Let's move on. Southampton, Flash's home side, the side that he roots like a 12-year-old boy for. He's got posters all over his room. He loves his Southampton. They're hosting Crystal Palace. Now, Crystal Palace sounds more like, when I was younger, Flash, when I barely didn't get into soccer, I always thought Crystal Palace was like a place you go and smoke weed at, but it ended up being a football club. Southampton 2.35, draw 3.4, Crystal Palace 3.25. Flash, I always give you first crack on Southampton. It's a pass for me. Neither of these two teams do much for me. What do you like here, Flash? I'm sure you like Southampton, right?
I'm going to be at the game as a guest, and I've gone for Crystal Palace to win and over 2.5 at 5. I think that they'll be far, far too quick for the Southampton back four. I think that they'll get exposed. I think that Palace will score a minimum of 2. If you ask me what I thought in the game, I think it'll be maybe 2-1, maybe even 3-1 to Palace. I think that they'll be far too athletic, far too quick, far too disciplined, and I'm getting 5.
How about that? Big price for Flash. Now, Flash, are you going to be a guest of honor? Are you going to be doing the halftime show? What do you got going on?
Yeah, probably there'll be maybe 3 or 4 of us, and someone will have to go downstairs and have a little chat, question and answers, same at halftime. I won't be doing the end of the game, that is for sure, but I might not even do any of it, to be honest. I might just sit there and have a burger.
Very cool. Hey, Flash, before we get Russ's call, I just wanted to ask you again one more time. Did you dive against Leeds?
No, I didn't dive. No.
Okay, because it's been called a swan dive by many
Oh, no,
many
yeah.
publications. Okay.
If people look
I
at
didn't
it
know.
closely enough, they'll see that he rakes down the back of my Achilles tendon and traps a nerve. I just took too many steps before I went down.
Okay, because it does look like you did like 4 or 5 steps and
Yeah,
then fell.
yeah, exactly. But the referee gave the penalty, didn't he?
Yes, which was all that mattered.
So the problem should be with the referee, then, not me.
Yes, good point. Who was that ref? Do you remember? Was it Mike Dean or?
No, I can't. I cannot remember, to be honest. I cannot remember. I want to say his name, maybe Philip Don, but I mean that'd be way before most people's time, anyway.
We'll have to find that. What do you think, Russ, on this game?
This morning I was at Southampton at 2.4. I looked at Southampton's win at home to Everton. Crystal Palace, look, great win against Spurs in the FA Cup. They did play a very strong team, and I'm just not sure whether they can back it up against Southampton. I still think the new manager is going to get them right after this. It's home advantage. I just think 2.4 I thought was a bit too big. Southampton do need the points more than Crystal Palace, and it's whether Crystal Palace can go again. Obviously, they won at Man City. They gave a good performance away at Liverpool. I'm just thinking whether this is a game too far and they just don't perform as well as they have done. And then moving on this afternoon, I was at 2.38, both teams to score and over. So that marries Flash in terms of thinking there's going to be plenty of goals. But, I'm going to go head to head with Flash here. I'm going to go Southampton at 2.4 based on, I think, home form is massive for them. New manager's going to get them right up for it. And they're going to get the job done because it's a game too far for Palace.
Interesting. Flash, I'm reading a little article about this notorious dive approaching the 20th anniversary of the notorious plummet. There's talks of fans from both sides meeting at the exact same spot to swap photos, stories, and grainy footage, dress up in period costumes, and recap the dreaded day. Chris White has agreed to do this, but sadly, Flash couldn't be found for it. So Flash, I'm guessing you were asked to do this, and you decided to not do it.
No, I don't even know. I mean, listen, it's coming up to the 30th anniversary, never mind the 20th. It was like 1992, I think. So, no, I think they're all just having a laugh. No one got in contact with me. And why would I want to do it anyway? If I fall over now, I might put a hip out.
I'm passing on this game. Let's move to the Kings of the Premier League. Yes, that's right. The Kings of Anfield, Liverpool. They're up. They're hosting Leicester. Flash, who never has a good thing to say about the boys from Liverpool. We're going to get his opinion and Russ's as well. Liverpool 1.22, draw 7. Leicester 15. Listen, Liverpool 16 goals in their last 4 games at home. They're flying. Obviously, they can't afford a misstep here. I think win to 0 looks pretty good here. Leicester really have nothing outside of Jamie Vardy. Struggled all year to score goals. I think that's kind of been clear. Russ, Yershon, what do you think here? Liverpool win to 0 looks pretty good. Any thoughts?
I actually think Leicester can score. Again, going back to what Flash has said over the last few weeks, there is going to be a game that Liverpool are going to slip up. And they've obviously got to make sure that they don't do it against Leicester. But Crystal Palace scored 3. Leicester scored 3 against Wolves. Damari Gray again played very well up top. Vardy's quick. And again, I just know Liverpool haven't conceded so many, but again, I just think the nerves slowly, game after game, they're going to creep in. Liverpool have not won the league since 1992. And again, they really, really want to get over the line here. But I just think the Leicester will score. I think Liverpool obviously will win. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 3.4 for a Liverpool win and both teams to score here. And that's the play.
Interesting. Like it. I don't like it because it's going against my bet, but I like the thought on it. Pretty good price on it. Flash, Russ and I are kind of in disagreement here. I don't think Leicester can score. I know you hate Liverpool. Any thoughts here?
Well, I mean, who's the other team I've been beating up on all year about them? They're defending. I mean, the people want to keep telling me, let me tell you about Leicester and let me tell you about how criminal it is that this man has even got the job. If anyone done their homework, and obviously you know that my whole background is in recruitment within football, Puel got the sack from Southampton coming 8th in the league, which is a big tick, and getting us to a cup final, which is a big tick. But he passes sideways. He passes back. His players take too many touches. Now, my friend who was my boss and my teammate, Nigel Pearson, got the ball, defenders, out of their feet, and they went long as quick as anything, and they had Mahrez onto it, Vardy onto it, and they were ruthless against every single team in the league because that was their strengths. Leicester are not playing to their strengths, and also they've got defenders who can't defend, and people said to me, they keep clean sheets here, clean sheets there. I went for a draw, them and Wolves, and they let in 4. Come on now. I've gone Liverpool -1, 1.66.
Now, Flash, do you like the win to nil as well?
Yeah.
Very good. That sounds like a good one. Anthony says 2-0 Liverpool. Yeah, could see it. Seems perfect. Looks like Russ, you're on the outside with this one.
Man.
Final game, Watford heading on the road to take on Tottenham in Wembley. Tottenham. They are struggling right now. They're out of both cups. Their best player's out. Their second best player is out. And their third best player is coming back from the Asian Cup. And you got to figure he'd be a little knackered at this point. Not looking good right now for Tottenham. They get a Watford team in here that's playing pretty well. 6-game unbeaten streak. Listen, I'm going to be very simple with this one. I'm going to go with Watford double chance here at 2.3. Like this price a lot. I'll keep kind of going against a Spurs team right now that I think is really at the worst spot for them it can be right now. Russ, I'll start with you. I know you hate Tottenham. What do you think here?
I don't hate Spurs. I know a lot of Arsenal fans do. I don't hate Spurs because they brought so much joy. They've not won a major trophy for so long, and it keeps me smiling. But look, Spurs have been fantastic the last few years. Under Pochettino, they've been brilliant. But I cannot for the life of me understand why they didn't buy in the summer. I did expect injuries to happen throughout the season, and it's exactly what's happened. And it's happened at a bad time when they've gone out of 2 cups in a few days that could have brought a trophy to those fans that just really want a trophy. And obviously Pochettino coming out and saying top 4 is more important. Look, you need trophies. Fans want trophies. You want to see silverware. You want to go to Wembley and lift a cup. I don't care what anyone says. But for this game, look, this is a tough one. Exactly what you said at the top of the show, big man. Man U are coming with a big run. And look, will they overtake Arsenal between now and the end of the season? Probably.
Yeah.
Could they overtake Spurs? They carry on as they go, and they've got a big chance. And Spurs really need to be on their mettle on Wednesday because they slip up, United win, the gap closes big time. Could Watford get a result? Absolutely they can. And I've got 2.32, same as you, double chance. Watford, they beat Spurs at Vicarage Road early this season, and they'll have no fear going to Wembley and giving it a good go. And I think they've got half a chance with Spurs having so many injuries. So, yeah, I agree with you, big man. That's the play.
You know, Russ, we have a few minutes here, and I want to ask you a question because I got it flashed for his dive. I got to ask you something. Quite often, my friends and I will have conversations about like how much would you have to be paid to do this? How much would you be paid to go to jail for 60 days? Like we talk about stuff like that, and I've given my numbers and all that stuff. But I got to ask you, what would I have to pay you to go to a Tottenham Arsenal game in a Tottenham shirt and root for Tottenham? Like, what would your dollar amount be? Would it be
I'm just
10
thinking
grand?
how many zeros. I'm just thinking how many zeros it would be.
Would you ever do it?
I couldn't do it.
There's no going back.
I couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it.
Are any of your family Tottenham? Are any of your family Tottenham, Russ?
Yeah, my brother-in-law.
Oh, well.
That's just
the end
matter.
of that then.
Yeah.
One of my
Now,
nieces, the eldest supports Spurs, the youngest supports Arsenal.
Would you do it for $1 million?
Yeah, of course you would, but it'd be a struggle.
Do it for a
90 minutes of pain.
Flash,
you've got to pay tax on it.
right. What are your thoughts here on this one?
I've got two bets. Watford double chance 2.3 and Watford at 5.5. But I know that you're going to say to me, you can find 6.
5.75 I found, but
okay. Well, I'll take that because I've gone Watford 5.75. And listen, Tottenham could go ahead and win this game, but the value is all about a side who are full of confidence. They made 11 changes the other day and went to Newcastle and won 2-0. So for me, Watford at 5.75, 1 unit, and 1 unit on the double chance at 2.3.
Interesting. Yeah, a lot of likes for Watford here on the chat. Omning says maybe Watford +1 at 1.8. Yeah, that's a pretty good play as well.
Yeah, I like that as well.
Anthony, very live underdog in this match is Watford. Yeah, I'm playing well right now. No finisher for Spurs. All right, guys. I want to get through the tips that we all gave out, then our banker and two-team parlay, and then I have one final question for both of you before we wrap it up. We'll start with Flash. Why don't you list Flash your tips? That way Natalie can go back if she needs to and get them, and then give us your banker and your parlay.
Okay, Arsenal -2, 2.7. Palace to win and over 2.5 goals at 5. Chelsea to win and under 4.5 at 2.1. Watford to win 5.75 and Watford double chance at 2.3. Man City to win and under 3.5 at 2.25. Fulham, both teams to score and over 2.5 at 2.7. Liverpool -1 at 1.66. My parlay is Chelsea and under 4.5 at 2.1 and Liverpool -1 at 1.66. And my banker is Man City and under 3.5 at 2.25.
Like it. I'll go Arsenal win to 0, 2.1. Everton 2.2 to beat Huddersfield. Wolves to beat West Ham 2.1. United -1.5, 1.8. City and under 3.5, 3.25. Chelsea under 4.5, 2.1. Liverpool win to 0, 1.83. And Watford draw double chance 2.3. My banker, Chelsea and under 4.5 at 2.1. And I also parlay that with City and under 3.5 at 2.25. Russ, what do you got?
We've got Arsenal and under 3.5 at 2.25. Brighton draw no bet at 2.4. If Rashford starts, Rashford to score any time at 2.0. Man City to win to 0 at 1.97. Chelsea 2.1. Chelsea and under 4.5. Southampton at 2.4. Liverpool and both teams to score at 3.4. Watford double chance at 2.32 and Wolves West Ham 2.38, both teams to score and over. The banker is Chelsea at 2.1 and under 4.5. The parlay is Arsenal and under 3.5 at 2.25 and Liverpool and both teams to score at 3.4.
Great stuff, guys. Great tips. We will be on twice this week, obviously today, and we will be on later this week, Thursday as well. Natalie Rydstrom should be back. We'll also have the Football League show at some point. And guys, again, I don't know if this has been put into motion. I'm sure at some point, I think you, me, and Flash, Russ, are doing some sort of Super Bowl thing. We'll get your opinion, you two guys. I know you follow the NFL, both of you. Always good to hear a non-US person talk about football. So we'll get into that as well. Guys, thanks for everything as always. Flash and Russ, we will see you all Thursday. Thanks.
What was the other thing you wanted to ask us?
Yeah, big man, I was waiting for that.
Well, I was going to ask about the Super Bowl, and then I thought, you know what, maybe I shouldn't because
no, you can wait.
I think we're doing a show.
You boys do your homework. You boys just just play the tape.
We'll get something together. I'll ask you guys about a couple proposition bets, and see what you think, and more. So look out for that later in the week. I'm sure people will enjoy it. I'm the big man on campus. This is Russ Yershawn and Flash Watson. We'll see you all middle of the week for the weekend matches.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.